Kyle Busch recently shared his thoughts on NASCAR's approval process for drivers. And my lord, it has sparked a lot of discussion. People believe that there should be stricter requirements before a driver can compete in a Cup Series race. Busch has seen firsthand how inconsistent the approval process can be. He talked about how some young drivers get approved for certain tracks while others are denied, with no clear explanation. His frustration is understandable, especially when the safety of drivers and pit crews is at stake. This issue came up after an incident involving Catherine Legg at Phoenix, where her inexperience with stock cars led to a crash that took out Daniel Suarez.
Rough start, then seeming to get in a rhythm, and then what happened?
Yeah, it was a really rough start. Now, we made some changes to the car overnight, and they were awful.
Joey Logano also had a lot to say about this topic. He pointed out that in Formula One, a driver must meet strict requirements before even getting a chance to race. Logano argued that NASCAR should have a similar structure, making sure drivers gain experience in lower series, like the Xfinity Series, before jumping into a Cup car. He emphasized that without proper experience, these drivers not only put themselves in danger, but also everyone else on the track. Busch took it a step further and suggested that the decision-making process should involve actual drivers instead of just NASCAR officials in suits. He believes that those who have driven in these conditions should have a say in who gets approved to race. He also mentioned that the same principle should apply to penalties. Instead of NASCAR officials deciding punishments, he suggested that penalties should be determined by fellow drivers. This is an interesting idea because drivers understand the competition better than anyone else. They know what is intentional and what is just hard racing. The idea of a driver-led penalty system is not something that has been seriously considered before, but it raises an interesting debate. For example, if a driver intentionally wrecks another competitor, should a panel of 3 experienced drivers decide the punishment? And would this lead to more fairness in racing penalties? NASCAR has always had control over these decisions, but if the drivers themselves were involved, it could lead to more trust in the system. However, there's also the risk of bias, as drivers might be more lenient towards their friends or teammates. This discussion comes at a time when NASCAR has been under scrutiny for some of its rule changes and enforcement. One recent example is the penalty against Austin Cindric. Many people, including Busch, felt that it was handled poorly. It has led to questions about whether NASCAR officials are making these calls fairly or if there's inconsistency in how they enforce the rules. Meanwhile, on the track, the weekend was full of drama. Josh Berry earned his first ever Cup Series win, marking a huge milestone in his career. Berry, who has been working his way up through NASCAR's ranks, finally broke through with a victory. His journey to the top has been inspiring because he didn't come from a big money background like some other drivers. Instead, he had to prove himself in smaller races before getting a shot at the Cup Series. His win was celebrated not just by his team, but by many fans who love an underdog story. The race itself was intense, with several dramatic moments. Ty Gibbs had a wild flip that got everyone talking. Gibbs was involved in a scary crash that sent his car airborne. Fortunately, he walked away without any major injuries, but the incident once again raised concerns about safety in NASCAR. While modern race cars are built to protect drivers better than ever, high-speed crashes like this shows everyone how dangerous the sport can be. Another big moment from the weekend involved Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney. The two Team Penske teammates had a hilarious back-and-forth exchange during a media session. Blaney was playing golf with Bubba Wallace while talking to Logano, and the conversation quickly turned into some friendly trash talk. Logano jokingly accused Blaney of missing a gear and blowing his engine in the previous race, which caught many people by surprise. While it was all in good fun, it also made some wonder if there was any truth behind Logano's comment. Blaney and Logano have a great relationship, but on the track, they are fierce competitors. This kind of rivalry within a team is what makes NASCAR so interesting. We love to see drivers joke around off the track while still battling hard when it counts. Their conversation was one of the funniest moments of the weekend, and it gave fans a glimpse into their personalities beyond just racing. Another major talking point was Kyle Busch's debut as a broadcaster for the Xfinity Series. Busch is known for his outspoken personality, and many were curious to see how he would do in the commentary booth. And he didn't disappoint, bringing his usual confidence and insight to the broadcast. Denny Hamlin also had an incredible run of luck, but not on the racetrack. The Joe Gibbs Racing driver hit the jackpot in a Las Vegas casino, winning a whopping $126,000. That alone would have been an amazing story, but Hamlin didn't stop there. Saturday was a big day for another driver as well. Justin Allgaier, the 2024 Xfinity Series champion, finally broke through and won his first race of the 2025 season. But the bigger story was Kyle Busch making his Xfinity Series broadcast debut on the CW. Busch, known for his aggressive driving and outspoken personality, surprised many by showing a natural talent for commentary. He provided in-depth analysis and clear explanations that helped even casual viewers understand what was happening on the track. Busch had done a couple of Truck Series broadcasts with his brother Kurt a few years ago, but this was his first time calling an Xfinity race on a national network. Many fans and analysts were impressed, and if he ever decides to step away from driving, it looks like he has a bright future in the booth. Later on Saturday, there was more action at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway dirt track. High Limits Racing had an interesting lineup, with some NASCAR stars joining the competition. Sunday's Cup Series race had plenty of drama, and it started even before the green flag. Kyle Busch made headlines for a hilarious prank during the pre-race show. While walking past the set where former driver Clint Bowyer was doing an interview, Busch casually signed Bowyer's jacket without him noticing. This wasn't the first time Busch pulled this stunt. Back in 2022, he signed Denny Hamlin's fire suit in a similar prank. Once the race started, Joey Logano took the early lead, staying out front for the first 29 laps. His Team Penske teammate, Ryan Blaney, had to start from the back after crashing in practice, but showed impressive speed, climbing from 36th to 20th in the opening laps. On the other hand, Ty Gibbs struggled, staying in the 30s and barely avoiding going a lap down. The first major incident of the day came when Chase Briscoe lost a wheel, bringing out a red flag. Pit road mistakes became a major theme of the race. Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch both got hit with speeding penalties, and Busch was furious with NASCAR. His team argued that their data showed he was within the speed limit, but NASCAR insisted otherwise. Later in the race, Busch's problems got even worse when he lost a wheel at full speed, sending his car crashing into the outside wall. The race came down to strategy, with different teams gambling on tire and fuel choices. Then, everything changed when Noah Gragson hit the wall with 25 laps to go, bringing out a caution. On the restart, Daniel Suarez and Josh Berry battled for the lead, with Berry eventually pulling ahead and never looking back. And that's all we have for today's episode. Now, don't hesitate to comment down your thoughts on this, and while you're down there, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well.